Hey guys, Nubkeks here and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm 2.0 beta. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Auriel. Not only this awesome new skin, which I'll talk about in a second, but then also the changes. So quite a few small changes made to her just in general, plus a reworked heroic in Resurrect. So we're going to be going into all of that. But first of all, look at this skin. It is absolutely awesome. Very much designed to coincide with Hanamura and Overwatch. It's awesome Japanese themed skin. You got like the cherry blossom themed wings, which I think are just so cool, beautifully animated and everything like that. Yeah, I think she is, are they called Oni? She's like the robot people from Overwatch. I think they're called Oni. So like Zenyatta, for example, from Overwatch, I think she's supposed to be like a female robot. I'm pretty sure. Also very similar to like the minions and like the mercs on this Hanamura map. So yeah, just beautifully fitting in, you know, with the cherry blossom trees and all that. A really gorgeous skin to match this this new Overwatch sort of release. There are three colors. This is, I think, the pinkest one, and we've comboed this with the pink Wonderbilly. So I'm pretty sure that the wings do leave behind these like leaf particle effects as you're moving, like the cherry blossom leaves falling off. Yeah, they are. You can see that kind of happening around our character, all these little leaves sort of sparkling. And bear in mind, I don't even have my graphic settings set to the highest, so if you've got even higher graphic settings, it's gonna look even better. And then while we're on the Wonderbilly, that also leaves a trail of hearts. So we're just leaving these beautiful pink trails everywhere we go. I think this is like pretty much you need to be using this combo if you're playing Auriel from now on. I think it's kind of essential, right? It's kind of essential. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, let's talk about what's changed with Auriel. Well, straight up, they've buffed a lot of her damage, actually, and they've also buffed a bunch of the talents that were kind of underperforming. So Sacred Sweep, your Q, now just does straight up more damage. It used to do baseline level 1, this is it without the scaling, right? But you can imagine it scales up every level, so this gets more and more significant. But level 1, it used to do 75 damage, it now does 80 damage, and the damage in the center used to be double, 150 damage baseline, it's now 160 damage. So you're just getting a little bit of extra damage off per hit. You know, just not quite 10% more, but something along those lines, close enough. Likewise, her Detainment Strike, her E, also has its damage increased. So it used to do 100 damage, it now is going to do 115 damage, so that's a 15% damage buff. And then the terrain collision damage, if you knock someone into a wall, it does an extra chunk of damage, of course. That used to also be 100, and now that's also being increased to 115. So you're going to get 15% more damage on both the initial hit and then the terrain hit with your Detainment Strike, which is pretty fantastic. I'll talk about Resurrect, the heroic, and how that's changed once we get to level 10, but it has been completely reworked, so that's pretty cool. Level 1, some pretty big talent changes, just to some of those kind of underpicked talents. So level 1 for Auriel, we've gone with Searing Light in this particular game, and that's unchanged. So that makes our Ray of Heaven, our heal, our W ability, also do 30% of the healing as damage to any enemies in the area. So that's quite nice. A little bit of extra damage to kind of match up with what I feel is a bit more of a damage focus on Auriel, and a little bit less of focus on like some of the crowd control and blinds and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a second as we go to some of these other tiers here. But yeah, there were three, there still is, in fact, still are 3 Q talents on level 1, but Swift Sweep was the one that really kind of took the cake and was picked nearly every single time, which was increasing the cast speed of that ability by 50%, which was really picked in a big way to synergize with the level 13 blinds, so that you could land at that center area on your enemies very consistently and apply that nice blind onto priority targets kind of without fail, make it really easy to pull off. So that was nearly always picked. You actually have 2 other ones though on that tier that almost never saw pick, and they have been buffed, so expect to see them a little bit more. Increasing Clarity, which is basically a stacking damage quest. Every time you hit a hero in the center, it increases the damage, and then after hitting 20 heroes, you get a permanent damage bonus, which is pretty effective. Well, you now get, instead of being 120 bonus damage once you finish the quest in the center, it's now going to be 150 bonus damage. So that's like, what's that, 25% damage increase from finishing the quest over what it used to give you before. So that's actually pretty significant. Then you also have got a talent called Righteous Assault, which reduces the cooldown of Sacred Sweep. It used to do 2 seconds for every enemy hero hit by the center of it. It's now going to be 3 seconds per hero hit in the center. And it used to also cap out. You could only get that twice, so you could get, 2 seconds per hero, maximum 4 seconds cooldown reduction on your Q. on the 8-second. It's an 8-second cooldown ability. Now it's going to be 3 seconds off per hero hit with no cap on that whatsoever. So if you hit 3 heroes with the center of your Q, lucky you, you're going to have another Q available immediately. So that's a pretty big deal, and this could open up some kind of new gameplay in terms of that sort of stuff. We're trying to kill Raynor here. We might have let him escape. Luckily, Abathur aims an excellent Q and lands that basic, the final attack to kill him. I thought I'd almost saved him there. You're trying to hit him with our detainment strike into a wall, but we missed the wall and then simply kind of knocked him to what seemed for a few seconds like complete safety. We got kind of lucky with that. But yeah, level 4 here, only one change, and we've actually gone with it in this game, which is repeated offense, which is the damage quest for your detainment strike has got a bit of a buff. So this is every time you detainment strike a hero, it does a little bit more damage. It's now going to, the quest reward used to give you 200 bonus damage on your detainment strike wall collision. It's now going to be 250. So again, that's, you know, a 25% damage buff on that ability. So, I mean, knocking people into the wall is actually going to do a pretty significant and substantial chunk of damage once you finished that quest. So that is pretty cool. Level 7 then, in this game I went for Bursting Light, which is still, I think, my favorite and will probably always be my favorite talent for here on this tier. It's just so useful because it halves the cooldown of your W, makes you a lot more flexible in when you can get your heals off. You can see we're using Searing Light there plus Bursting Light to interrupt actually Lili's Heartstone, being a bit of a jerk. But some of the other talents here on this tier, which again were kind of a bit underwhelming, have been buffed up. So Glimmer of Hope has been buffed up as well. This is whenever you collect a regen globe, it reduces the cost of your next heal, your next ray of light. So that has been buffed to from 50% energy cost reduction to 75% energy cost reduction. I don't know if this is that good. Obviously it's got a pretty big early game focus. You could do a lot more heals when you're fighting around regen globes. But I mean, late game, we're on a lot of maps where, you know, there's not that many regen globes to play with. This talent, I'm not sure about this one. It's kind of cool though, and you know, giving you 75% energy cost reduction is pretty impactful when it does happen. It seems kind of niche. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, just bear that in mind. It has been changed. Empathic Link has also been changed as well, which is energy taken, energy absorbed. Will basically damage taken by the target that has your hat on them will give you energy, basically. It used to be 20% of the damage they took will become energy. Now it's going to be 25% of the damage they took will become energy. I think part of this as well was to kind of, let's say with, I don't know, Cho'Gall and stuff like that, to kind of synergize a bit more. You know, they might have been a bit worried that the Cho'Gall synergies would be too strong. I don't know, but then Cho'Gall being a little less tanky these days, I'm not sure if that factored in at all, or if they just said, well, this talent is not being quite as impactful as we kind of hoped. Actually, again, just another little like 25% buff to the overall effectiveness of that talent, bringing it from 20% up to 25%. So quite nice. As you can see, we have picked up Resurrect here at level 10, and oh my god, so many mines. This is been very much reworked, very much reworked. So the old version of this was that you would have to channel on an ally for 3 seconds and they come back to life with 50% health. The new version here is that you channel for half a second and then there'll basically be this ghost for 5 seconds, and then 5 seconds after you finish the cast time on that, they will pop back up alive. I think at half health again. So that's really the big deal. It's not a 3-second cast time anymore. It's only half a second cast time, but there is like a 5-second delay before they pop back up. I still don't think it's going to be that good. They've also, by the way, increased the cooldown from 70 seconds to 120 seconds. So that's actually a pretty big deal. That's a pretty substantial change in how that's going to work. You know, it's a very long cooldown on that ability. Very long. I mean, you have to pick this against Crystal Aegis, which is half the cooldown, and it's just like Crystal Aegis is just insanely useful, especially because you're playing a support without cleanse. It's so good for saving people in a bad situation. It does decent damage, gives you some energy to play with, makes someone puts them in stasis for a while. They can dodge a whole bunch of stuff. I think Crystal Aegis is just too good for Resurrect to work. I don't see this new Resurrect being too good, but it's interesting that they're taking a look at it and trying to work. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they, for example, reduced the resurrection delay from 5 seconds to like 4 or even 3 at maybe like a later stage. I don't really know. But it's certainly interesting. Like, you can see, for example, like we're level 13 and we still haven't had any real opportunity to make use of our new heroic right here. But I think we only get to use it like once or twice in this game. It's a bit of a funny one. To be honest with you. Unfortunately, our Detainment Strike there did not quite work out as the Diablo flip coincided with it. He's still going to go down, but did not go down in the manner that we might have hoped. We're getting a lot of kills. This has been a pretty one-sided game for us. But nonetheless, hopefully it's giving you a bit of an insight into kind of the new Auriel and what she's able to do. Let me actually mention, before I talk about Resurrect a bit more and my thoughts on that, let's jump into level 13 where there have been some pretty significant changes. So one of the big changes is that Blinding Flash, which is the Q talent upgrade, has been nerfed. This used to be, it would blind targets caught by the center of your Q for 3 seconds, which is a really big deal. Now it's only going to blind them for 2.25 seconds, which is still very strong, but not quite as strong as it was before. And I think this will also play a role in those, this level 1 talents that I was mentioning. Here we go. This is Resurrect. So you can see very fast cast time, and you can see the Genji right there. He's got this big resurrecting, and ta-da, he resurrects. It takes a long time to happen, and obviously, it gives your enemies like pretty much complete knowledge on where your allies are going to resurrect, and they can be ready to punish that. So yeah, I'm not sure about this one. But yeah, with Blinding Flash being nerfed, it makes, the faster cast speed on level 1 less important on your Q and all that sort of stuff. So maybe it'll open up some different sort of plays right there. Piercing Lash, which is, I believe, what we grabbed in this particular game, has also been buffed. And I think this makes it a very appealing talent. So by default, this makes your Detainment Strike pierce and hit all enemies in a line. Now, this new buff version will also reduce the cooldown of Detainment Strike by 2 seconds for each hero that you hit. So that's, that's pretty damn appealing. It's very rare, to be honest, that you hit multiple heroes, but sometimes you will. You're more picking it up. Like, I would often pick up Piercing Lash at level 13, like up against like ETC, for example, something like that. If there's a priority target that I really, really want to knock back and interrupt and stun with my E, I'm going to pick up Piercing Lash to make sure that like I'm never going to miss. I can guarantee I cast E on that target that it's going to hit them. But like the cooldown reduction makes this more useful in general when you're only hitting one hero. Yeah, then, if you're hitting more than one hero, it could be very effective indeed. So I think, it's a very appealing upgrade to this talent. I think this looks like a really good talent here at level 13 right now. And also bearing in mind, that repeated defense at level 4, all that bonus damage you're getting when you stun someone could be pretty damn nice. I think it could work really, really well. So yeah, I think it's a great talent that they've added here. They've also changed, I'll just mention level 20. I'm not sure if we're going to reach level 20. We're winning this game so well at this stage. But they have tweaked those a little bit as well. Shield of Hope has been nerfed. It used to be a 45-second cooldown. It's now a 60-second cooldown. I think he triggered the boss to troll our teammate there. But the boss ate us as we were trying to run past the payload. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a misclick. I kind of assumed he was trolling. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, Shield of Hope, it's still really good, but just the cooldown's a little bit longer, and I think that's very reasonable. Then also they have also changed the upgrade to Resurrect. So it's got a new functionality. I think it used to make them respawn with improved health, so that's not going to be a thing anymore. This is a time in the game when I was like, I really wish here that I had Crystal Aegis. That would have been a bit more useful, but we resurrected Genji anyway. So hey, Genji's back in the fight. Or sorry, Greymane is back in the fight. They're both picking with G. They're basically the same. I figured that would make more sense, by the way, than Abathur, seeing as Abathur will come back and have global presence, so he can get back into the fight a bit quicker. That's kind of my thought process there. Plus Greymane's like our main source of damage, so that was the theory. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but anyway. So the new functionality of Lightspeed, so it will resurrect people, and it gives your ally 200% increased move speed, decaying over 4 seconds. So obviously, it takes 5 seconds for Resurrect to activate. The enemy team knows exactly where they're going to come back. So that move speed is kind of important now with this new version, because it kind of lets them get out of that pretty telegraphed situation much more easily. So, you know, resurrecting might not necessarily be the death sentence that it could otherwise be. So that's part of what Lightspeed does. And we'll also, now this new functionality, your resurrect will recharge twice as fast while the previous target is alive. So it will effectively become a 60-second cooldown instead of a 120-second cooldown, presuming that the target that you resurrected doesn't die. So you have it kind of up more often. I don't know. Honestly, looking at, like, having played this game with Resurrect, reading the talents, considering what they could do and how useful they could be, I honestly, sorry to say it, but I really don't see how, you know, Resurrect plus Lightspeed at level 20 could be that useful. Like Crystal Aegis plus Shield of Hope, or Crystal Aegis plus Angelic Flight, or Crystal Aegis plus the upgraded Diamond Resolve for Crystal Aegis. They all seem so much better and so much more useful. So, I don't know, I feel like they're kind of going in the right direction. I wouldn't be surprised if they buffed Resurrect a little bit, particularly how long it takes someone to resurrect once you finish the cast. Or like even improving like the range or making it instant cast. I don't know, but leaving that big delay. I'm not sure exactly what they'll do with it, but I'm kind of skeptical as to how good it's going to be. And the light speed, I'm still really skeptical as how good that's going to be compared to Shield of Hope, which is just so useful, or Angelic Flight, which is also very useful on so many maps. Yeah, I'm not hugely certain about that. You can see our damage stats are pretty solid here in this particular game. Again, bear in mind that all these games have been PTR, so they're not, you know, take all of the stats with a pinch of salt, because you've got like wide variances in terms of skill levels, in terms of team balance, and everything like that. And then of course, like, we're playing as a 5-man team here because it's quicker games for me, so it's very helpful for making videos. But yeah, do bear that in mind. But yeah, so the overall, I think the Auriel changes make a lot of sense, opening up some of those lesser used talents that have cool, interesting designs, you know, level 1 and 7 and so on, at 13 as well. Just getting a little bit more balance on those talent tiers, upping her damage overall. And then, yeah, you know, this attempted Resurrect rework, not sure it's quite hit the mark yet. I won't be picking it myself, and certainly in any games, definitely not. But it's, you know, at least indicating that there, you know, there's the opportunity to tweak the talent at some stage, you know, reduce the cooldown, or you know, reduce the delay on the resurrection. There are things they can do, make them resurrect with more HP, whatever it might be. There's ways they can tweak it and play with it to make it more relevant, and I think they've moved in the right direction at least, though I don't think it's quite where it needs to be quite yet. But yeah, there you go. New skin though, new skin, spot on, boom, love it. 100%, that's a great skin. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. There should be things up on the screen you can click to subscribe to my channels, to check out other videos, all that sort of stuff. So thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in another one real soon. Bye bye.